All right, you lovely lot. It is the Wor Lasses Show, kicking off a brand new season for Newcastle United women as they embark on the 2024-2025 campaign off the back of that double promotion. It can't get any sweeter. And I am your host, Sam Bradley, with the incomparable Aran Embleton, ex-England player, startling career in women's football, business owner, and my new co-host for the Wor Lasses Show on TTR. But before we get into it, we do want to just set some context first of all. So we want you engaging with us, our viewers in the chat as well. We want you talking amongst yourselves, sending chats into us. Myself, Aran, the whole TTR team want to make this show as big as possible. And that's because women's football needs support, it needs advocates. Newcastle United women have undoubtedly got some of the best fans in the UK to make that possible. So please, please help us get to some of those goals. Our aim is to bring you some amazing content and help to continue to raise the profile of the lasses in their game. So if you're proud of the Northeast, if you're proud of the lasses, please do us a favor, smash the like button like as early as possible, like now would be great. Subscribe if you wish, hit the notification bell so you don't never miss a show. And as ever, you can drop us a super chat to show your support. Obviously, I've got my amazing co-host, Aran. How you doing?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. How was my intro? Was it all right? I don't
I
want to
was
hear
gonna
what Paul's
say, oh
feedback
my
is.
God, that was like on
Let's
point.
smash it.
That was
Class.
on point. I've got to say, that was class.
Love it. Right.
Love it.
Love that. Well, I tell you what, before we get into the agenda for this evening, we've got honestly masses to discuss with starting the new season, everything that's happened beforehand as well, so lots to get through tonight. We do have a brand new member as well who's joined us, so welcome to Jamie McKinnon. So thank you very much for joining Members Club and welcome to the TTR family. First thing that I want to kick off and get your opinion on, Aran, Amanda
All right then.
leaving.
Oh, Amanda.
What do you think? How does it impact the squad? Becky, Sue, like
Yeah.
I think there was shock amongst the fan base certainly, but the impact that she's particularly had on the women is just massive. So let's get your reaction.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, Amanda has been like out of this world support wise. She's been at majority of the games with our family. Great to see the kids there mingling. Obviously at St James's she gets mobbed, not as much at Kingston Park, but she'll mingle and go down where you wouldn't see that at St James's. And she's right being at the heart of the women's game, and she's put the driving force. She always said when she came in, women's football was at the top of our list and something that you really wanted to focus on. And I'm absolutely devastated to when I got up and seen the news, and I was like, oh, put my head in my hands, and I was like, the person that I knew was behind it all and pushing
Yeah.
is stepping back and moving on, and I'm hoping that the momentum for the women's team now is they've got the PR team involved. They've got a lot going on in the background that they've never had before, and I'm hoping the momentum continues. But I'm absolutely gutted. Yeah, like we'll see obviously how it pans out. They've got some new management come in. There's people gone out. Andy Cook's gone. We've got interim manager come in from to Becky from Durham.
Mm-hmm.
She's got a lot of experience. She was head coach at Durham, so she'll bring a lot to the team. We've had a massive change around, as everyone knows. There's a lot come in and a lot gone out. And I'm sure we'll obviously touch on that later on, but it's something that needed to happen to drive the team forward and to move them to that next level. But yeah, hand on my heart, I'm absolutely gutted about the whole Amanda situation. But I'm hoping. I mean, Sue's got a lot of experience. She started one of the first women's teams in the Northeast. There was two teams when I started playing, and that was Newcastle women, but they weren't affiliated in Newcastle United, and a team called Cowgate Kestrels. And
Yeah.
she was the driving force of a couple of girls that were kicking a football outside of a leisure centre. She was part of the council. and she ran the Cowgate Leisure Centre itself, and she was seeing the girls kicking about outside, and she went out and said, "Do you know what you're doing, kind of girls?" And they were like, "Oh, we've got nowhere to play football, no team, no nothing." And she went away with another woman called Jane Ashworth, who's now been awarded an MBE for charity work and setting up sort of football teams and things like that in low deprived areas. They took it upon themselves and they ran with it and started a football club up. And so the city was divided between two women's teams. So she's got the driving force and took that team to where they're now. Obviously, what we Sunderland. I know you're all going to put your head and go, "No, red and white," but it went from a nothing team to now that a championship team way before Newcastle is what it is now. So the experience is there. She's been in the game a long time. She's been in the game 40 years, so she knows what she's doing, and she'll be pushing all the way to get as much funding she can, and to get the lasses, which was the pinnacle of what we want them to do, is be in the WSL and compete. And we're nearly there, but we're not far off.
Yeah, and I think, regular viewers to TTR will know, I mean, Billy was in tears when Amanda announced that she was leaving, and we were previewing it. In fact, no, we were doing a match commentary, Billy and I, and saw the sort of message of support after the War Flags tribute as well, just saying thank you to Amanda and Mia Dad as well, like their impact in the takeover and everything since that time as well. It's not just been broker and a huge money deal.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like you're saying, it's what they've done for the women's team, which is so critically important.
Yeah.
And I think for me, it's scary, but I think Mark's made a really good point here, like saying, has anyone assumed specific responsibility at boardroom level? I'm not sure that that's actually happened yet. We did see Darren Eales come out with a statement
Mm-hmm.
saying they're a critical part of a revenue generating stream, but I think I want to see the heart for the women's team, like we saw with Amanda. But for me at the moment, Mark, I don't think anybody at boardroom level has taken that responsibility. It's
No.
more of the stewardship for me, Aaron, I
Mhm.
think.
Yes, yeah, and it's at some point when that is, I don't know. There might be communication come out that there is. I genuinely don't know. I'm hoping there will be, because it needs the push. It needs there needs to be a force behind it to continue as they are now. Um, but I was honestly, Sam, absolutely, I was gutted when I seen it. I got up and I was like, "Oh no!" Like, especially as well for the men, we've come a long way, and we haven't got to forget we're battling at the bottom there, and we're just above relegation, and we're dropping down, and we're just pulling myself out, and we've built a team. It was a project, and you can see for the men how well it's gone so far, and the progress that's happened in the women's. It was a similar sort of thing, similar business model as to the likes of Man City for the men, and the women then, it's a bit like Arsenal, where Arsenal women have always been involved with Arsenal men, and they've had the funding, they've had the backing, they're well established now, and we're on a journey, and we're getting there. It's just going to take time, unfortunately. And no one wants it more than me to see that a WSL team is playing from a Newcastle United team is playing in WSL, because you know I didn't want to get on that train. I didn't want to go and play for Doncaster Bells. Like, I wanted to play for a northeast club where I was from. I'm a Geordie
Yeah.
through and through. So the day I see them in the WSL, and although Sunderland have been in and dropped down, that's Sunderland. We're Newcastle. Do you know what I mean? We're Geordies. We've got a massive force
What are
behind
you
us.
trying to say, Embleton? What are
Uh,
you trying to
it was, yeah. I want to see the black and white army going into the WSL, and the support that we've got is just world. We haven't got. There's nowhere in the world got supporters like us. We live and breathe football. That's just the way we are. Like, men, women, it doesn't matter who. We're football is everything to us. Everyone wants to know what time the match is on at the weekend because everyone's going to be watching it. Everyone bases
100%.
that traffic where they're going around. That we're going anywhere near Newcastle, that we're going to be stuck in traffic because the
We
match is
do.
on. You know what I
We
mean? Like,
do.
it's like literally, it's what church and yeah. I'd I would love nothing more to see them get up there, but it is a project, and we've had to bring players in, which we've done. We've brought the likes of Rachel Furness in, come back home from Reading. Rachel played for Ireland and had many caps for them. I used to play in the same team at Chesley Street years ago with Rachel. She was at that point she was like much younger than me, and she's got a cracking left foot. And she's going to be probably the oldest in the team, but she'll bring a lot of experience on the back of her international career, and also just a calmness. And again, in midfield, when needed, more strength. And then we've got the likes of Demi Stokes. I mean, she left from Sunderland. She went to Man City. Again, like something like 65 to 60, 69 caps for England. Like, again, it speaks volumes. They've brought a lot of, I've seen a lot on social media of people mentioning they're bringing a lot of older generation in, but what we've also got to think about, like, they are a wealth of experience for the youngsters coming through, to get where we need to be, because we're not
Yeah.
just going to pull, you're not going to pull Ella Toon and Mary Earps and people like that into the championship. It has to be at WSL level to get a lot of your top players in. So that building blocks there with the players that they've pulled in, and they've unfortunately, and it's awful that it is the way it is, but I'm sure all the listeners will agree. It's football is can be brutal at times, and you go in as a kid and you can be released at any point, and unfortunately the lasses that were there, where they've moved up that next level, we now need the ability and experience to come in, and we've had to let players go that were ultimately had an excellent seasons. They were great, you know. They were, whether they came on as a sub, it was all part of a team to get we promoted, and it's exactly what we did. But we have to move forward, and the ability, we have to get stronger ability in and more experience to then go up to the next level. There's a big jump between, the tier three. And I've played in the championship. I played in the championship from being nearly, I think I was 14. For many, many years I played in before, and then I went to obviously Doncaster Bells and played WSL, but I was very young, and the level of difference is massive from what they've been playing at. So the team that's gone in and railroaded, that league, which they have, every game seemed to be, pretty much, it would have been very disappointing if we had a lost. Um, it would have been a shock for everyone. So you're going in a much stronger league. A lot of them are professional, if not all of them already. The league they were in, that wasn't the case. So the fitness was massive. They were a lot fitter as a team. The other teams were turning up and probably training on Tuesday and a Thursday. Newcastle was training every day. They're professional, professional outfit. So the ball game changes because you're up against teams that, fitness wise, is going to match you as well as quality. And a lot of players from the WSL, as they start to come to your career goes up, you hit your top, you hit your pinnacle, and you start to drop down. They'll drop down leagues, they'll come down at the championship. So you're going to have quality in there. But I feel with the people they've brought over the line, that the strength is there. The strength is there.
Well, he's an interesting one. We're going to obviously come on to the incomings in a second, but just a quick shout out to Jamie, who sent in £5 super chat. Want to see Wor Lasses and the WSL prove the haters wrong, and that's definitely the trajectory that we're on, that you've
Yeah,
just been talking
100%.
about as well. But
Yeah,
really interesting comment here about when the Lasses actually reach the Women's Super League, which is the tier above ours. For anybody who doesn't know, I'm not going to assume anybody like knows the different leagues or anything like that. But we've talked about this before, about playing on artificial grass, and I
yeah,
feel like Peter, you've kind of just sort of like teased us a little bit here, because we know that there's, plans for St. James's Park. We know that we're obviously looking at feasibility studies here. And we've heard about what I can only describe as a shit show at Manchester United. So this was earlier on in the year, where Manchester United were doing some work on the men's training facilities. So moved the men into the women's and booted the women out into porta cabins. They've obviously seen, big stars leave the team after that time as well. And they're talking about now, when Man U build their new stadium, could they possibly use Mould Trafford for the women? What do you think about that for Newcastle United women, Aran?
100%. Like, I
Are you
mean,
loving that idea?
honestly, like me, I wish I could roll back 15 years and maybe it's a
Don't
little
we
bit
all,
longer,
babe? Don't we all?
and run out at St James's Park. But it's inevitable; it is going to happen. That's just going the way women's football is going at the moment, and it's the fastest growing sport in this country. But you've seen Arsenal are doing it. They've already announced that they will be playing all their games alongside the men's. I think it was Aston Villa as well. They announced it's slowly happening, one by one. You can't as well. You're quite right, Peter. You can't play in the WSL. You can't play on 4G service. And to be honest with you, like you shouldn't do anyway. Football's centered around playing on a field of grass. And when you get to that level, you know, where we play, I don't know, but it will be coming 100%, and I'll be jumping up and down the day it does. But yeah, they can't play on 4G surface any longer. Once they get out of this league, because it's FA rules, you're not allowed. You've got to have a grass pitch, and where that'll be is I don't know. There may well be. I'm guessing here completely that there's millions going into the training facilities, and you know, could they play there? But again, there's unless they build a small stadium, there is only really Kingston Park around here. Yeah, there was gated. I don't know what that was happening with that for a while. There was people saying a lot of speculation. I was thinking, could we get gated? But that doesn't seem to be likely now. So the next thing after that would be if we start to fill Kingston Park. Yeah, we've had 6,000-7,000 in last game last season, but ultimately week after week, if we're filling Kingston Park, we need to get to that point first. If we fill Kingston Park, then it's gonna the club will be in a position where they'll have to make a decision, because they're gonna need this. That again, the more people you get in, the more support as we've got, the more money comes in, the more you can plow into buying better players and bringing players like superstars to the northeast. But we've got to get to that position, and we're not quite there yet. Even when we're playing at St James's Park, don't get us wrong, there's 28,000 going in, but is it week in, week out yet? Not at the moment, but it is getting there. It's getting I think it was about 4,000 on a lot of the games at Kingston Park, but we need to be getting where we're selling like 7, 8, 9,000 to get to that point, I think.
Yeah, 100%. And I think for me, and I talk to this point quite often in regards to any women's football. And I think Mark Randall, he has made a really good comment, a call out, talking about the streaming services for the season, especially for US fans. Keep us honest here, Aaron, but I'm pretty confident it's on the FA Player this season because of the championship that we're in now. So matches we are able to stream all of them on there, and I think that's the accessibility point that we need to discuss with women's football. And you've just touched on a really good point there, actually, which leads nicely from that. Where can we stream it? If at all possible, get yourselves down to Kingston Park. It couldn't be easier, and it's really, really great, like for families as well. But I was really surprised at the price of the season tickets, like standing 50 odd quid, seated season ticket 70 quid, kids are cheap as chips, great family day out, great atmosphere. They've made it super, super accessible for everybody.
100%, Sam. Like, I mean, like, what, 70 quid for a season ticket? Like, come on. Like, you can't get any cheaper than that to take it, to take your family, even if you were buying like two or three tickets. Like, it's great. I mean, they have fun days on where before the game, sometimes they've got like festival stuff on, they've got rides for the kids, face paint and all that kind of stuff. It's just great. It's a great atmosphere, family atmosphere to be around. And then on top of that, you've got a class game to watch. And it's especially this season, it's going to be a lot more competitive. It's not like what I was mentioning earlier. You turn up and you think, oh, we're going to win the day. It's really going to be back to back hard games. So they're going to be good games to watch. But ultimately, yeah, atmosphere is fantastic. Supporters are, we're gaining supporters
That's
rapidly.
yes.
Even streaming wise, like, a lot of the time I was commentating last season, and we're seeing it go up and up from 10, 20, 30, 40. I think one point there was views of like up to 50,000. So it was a bit of a trial to see how it went, and it smashed it. But you're right, Sam. I think as far as I'm aware, the FA player website, it does stream all the games, and you can choose what games you want to watch, and they will be on there. And I think the club is going to be streaming some others as well on NUSC TV. I'm unsure which ones of yet, but keep an eye out on any sort of comms that go out from on the Newcastle website, and you'll see that on the Facebook. But yeah, like, it's it's moving, and it's moving at a fast pace. We just need more people. I would love to see Kingston Park selling out like most games. And it's, don't get me wrong, I I walk in, and when they first get there, and I'm normally there a couple hours before with, obviously, with the media team there, and I see a couple of hundred there, and then before kick off you see the whole fight for war flags are in it, and it gets quite emotional because um obviously, being the way I am about Newcastle, like, I'm an emotional person when I'm seeing the war flags out and the whole tributes and the feel of everyone there. I would just love to see. I would love to see sell out week after week, and we can do it. It's just uh, the exposure and the likes of this channel and many more out there, and anyone on the likes of Facebook, social media, that's sharing all this stuff, and when they go to games and with the kids, and it just lets people see. A lot of people are a bit like with families. They think of going to the men's game, and naturally the men's game is different because it's a different atmosphere. You've got 55,000, 50 whatever, 52,000 in St James's, and people are over the top of each other. With Kingston Park, you've got that family, a bit more family orientated rather than the lads out for the day as such. So get
Yeah.
yourself down, get down to Kingston Park. Honestly, get yourself a ticket, the cheapest chips. And if you can afford a season ticket, absolutely get one. It, it's what it's better than going out and buying a top, going on Shein that everyone does these days.
Yeah, please don't advocate for Sheen. We
Uh,
want none of that. But I mean, you talk there to fast pace and how everything's going. We've seen players exit, which is probably the right time to do so. We've seen
mm,
coach and staff go. Chris Steigel went off to Aston Villa in the Super League, so best of luck to him. You
yeah.
talk to Claire Ditchburn coming in as well, interim assistant manager. So this is a season where we can actually make a huge impact, and it seems like we are showing up to contend as well. So we are going to have some challenges ahead, but we're coming off the back of double promotions. Unlike the men's side, it's strengthened quite significantly.
Mhm.
I think it's sometimes a bit of a misconception about PSR, and I see some comments sometime, how are the women signing so many and not affected by it? But we've got masses of new signings, loans. So, Aaron, I'm going to do a really quick recce of who we've got, and then I'm going to bring you in and say, right, who are you excited about? So,
Mhm.
we've got Isabella Sibley coming in midfield. She's coming in from Crystal Palace. Stokes in defence.
Mhm.
England international Furness, who you've already spoke to as well. So, you said you knew her when she was younger. She's actually returning to Newcastle, Aaron, after like
Yeah.
14, 15 years,
Mhm.
something like that. Northern Ireland international. Like we've got forwards coming in Haywood. The big coup for me was our new goalkeeper, Claudia Moen.
Yeah.
Player
of the season last season.
What a season she had. Championship player of the season she was named, wasn't she?
She was. And she's got so much confidence, her footwork, her positional play from crosses. She comes and picks the ball out the air. She's great along the bottom. Yeah, she's been a great signing. And don't get me wrong, obviously, Donnelly's had a great season, taking nothing away from her. But again, it's all about strengthening that squad. In the season that Claudia had, it speaks volumes. It's just strengthening. And we'll see how she goes. But I'm really excited about it. Demi Stokes, again, really excited. Like I say, wealth of experience. You're bringing people in that have played at a higher level. But yeah, I'm really excited to see Rachel Furness. She's got a shot second to none, and I'm not joking you. Like that ball's hit me a couple of times, nearly knocked me out. Free kicks, deliveries into the box. And like I say, especially the younger ones, she will give them, a bit of a nudge to keep them on track as well when times are getting hard. And I don't think we weren't really tested, to be honest, last year. We weren't. It was a bit of a breeze, and I feel that there's going to be a lot of tests in this league now. We're at that sort of level. It's going to be none of your 5-0ers. You might get the odd one, but it's highly unlikely. Do you know what I mean? It's going to be close games, your 2-1s, your 3-1s, 1-1s. And I think she will. She's got the shoulders on her, and she's very grounded. She's a very grounded lass. And she's back home. She's back in her black and white watch. She's always wanted. She left in black and white, and then she went obviously down south, and now she's back in a black and white, and she's back home. So I know she's happy as Larry.
It's like a nice little sort of fairy tale, and it
It
doesn't
is.
sort of stop there. We've got an ex-Durham forward as well. I think Andrews, is it?
That's right, yeah.
Like Becky's had nothing but great praise for. Cooper, who came in earlier in the window, defender from Reading. She's actually got experience with Chelsea winning the Super League back in 2017, 2018, and again 1920. Hayes, the Jamaican international forward. Now, I absolutely loved the social media campaign on Hayes, like at the Hoppins. In the new home kit. It just looked class. And I think really good comment here from Stephen, who wants to know who's the best signing for the girls. I mean, for me, it's going to be really hard to call because this is going to be a testing season. We've had to strengthen in all positions there, but it looks like to me, Aaron, that we've gone for defensive strengthening and forwards, whereas actually midfield was something that you mentioned earlier. So how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I'm biased because, like I say, I've played with Rachel and I know her ability. So for me, probably the signing for me is Rachel and Demi. Obviously, Demi speaking, I don't need to say anything other than the fact of how many caps she's got. But those two and the homegrown talent that unfortunately had to go elsewhere, which not forget to remember this, they had to go elsewhere to play their football at a higher standard. And we're getting to that point in the next couple of years where these players that you've seen and gone, including myself and probably another 5 others, Steph Horton, Lucy Bronze, and the list goes on, that's had to leave here to go elsewhere and play at a higher sort of level. That's not going to be the case because we are going to see the black and white in the WSL, and then our home talent we can keep rather than going elsewhere.
Yeah, for sure. And what an exciting time that is going to be. I'm so excited for it. And I mean, we've got the Women's League Cup as well. Classic draw for Newcastle as ever. We've got like, I mean, what to name, but if you like Everton, Liverpool, Man U, like, oh, Aaron, honestly, it is a bit of a sickener because we've got a big season ahead off the back of it's been like a fairy tale under Becky Langley, and cup draw again, man. Jesus
I know.
Christ, give us a
I know.
break, will you?
But you know what? Out of everything, like we just have to look at it like this. It's going to gain them experience for playing at that sort of level. The more they play against teams that are, that's why you do pre-season, and sometimes you'll pick teams that are in higher leagues to prepare you, and you can see the difference. Um, so really, I think it's a good thing. What they can learn from it, they can try different stuff. Um, and if we can get any wins out of it, fantastic. But yeah, it'll be good for like preparation really, and especially for some of the players there now that this is potentially the level you're going to have to play at. And again, I've spoke about it many times, and had many conversations about the level and the jumps. I'm already jumping one, and this is going to be a lot different to last season. When you go to the WSL again, it's another league again. You're playing against the best there is in this country, and well, around the world, because there's players from all over the world, isn't there? You've got America, you've got Swedish, you've got so yeah, I always said when I played, and somebody said there was, why did you leave? One was the fact that I was kind of had to for England. I was told I had to, and secondly, like you've got to try yourself out against the best, and to know how good you really are. So you can be top goal scorer in the championship all day long. But if you're good enough and you can step up to try yourself out, you've got to go and do it. Um, and that's what I did. And that's what these girls will do. They've got to test themselves. And when they play against these teams, it'll see that level of difference. So, yeah.
Well, I'm gonna test you on what the level of difference might look like, but I'm gonna
However,
go through some super chats and stickers first. So, Ray Fegan, we've got 99 pence super sticker. So thank you so much for that one. Jamie's on fire tonight with the contributions. Thank you so much. Another £2 there, and new member as well. Could get Stanway. She said she is an NUFC fan. Oh, Aaron, can you
yeah.
imagine? Behave.
Hey, I tell you what, like I say, it's not too far away, these players coming in. I know everyone was getting a bit excited on socials in pre-season I seen, and they were saying, oh, who did I say was they were thinking about coming in? There was a lot of speculation about somebody coming in, and I was like, and they were saying, what do you think? And I said, not yet. Like these players won't fully come yet, unless they're at the end of their career. But the likes of Stanway, the likes of Ella Toon, the likes of um, all your main players out there that are your lionesses, yeah, Lauren Jameses, things like that. Don't get me wrong, some of them won't move from the London clubs, they're kind of London through and through, and that's fine. But we will attract them as we move up the leagues, and that will happen. So you're quite right. Well, at some point, we might see Georgia Stanway playing in a black and white strip, 100%.
Oh, can you imagine how
No,
fabulous that would be? But that's the path. That's
that's
the path that we're
yeah,
on.
that's the
That's where
reality we're in.
the ownership wants us to go through, and it's the
Yeah,
investment, it's the interest from people like the viewers here tonight. It's getting a season ticket, it's watching on the FA Player, all of that lovely stuff. So it just looks like
yeah.
it's going in a really positive and exciting direction for the women's
Mm,
team.
it is. It
Yeah.
really is.
Love that. All right then. Well, I can't sort of let anything go by. If there's something a little bit amiss, you know that I'm going to be all over it like white on rice. I need to talk about the Sela Cup. We got the fixture against AC Milan women. Great stuff. Went to pens. Hawkins making the winning save. Absolutely tremendous. If anybody, caught it, they were doing the sort of 6 match, pay for 6 sort of deal where you could watch it online, or if you managed to attend the weekend in person.
Mhm.
Amazing. One thing I've got a problem with.
However, then.
Tiny thing, Aaron. Really tiny, actually. Size of the cup.
Oh.
What was that about? I don't know if you saw it. Like Billy commented on it. It was
Mhm. Yeah, yeah.
like an egg cup. My wine glass is bigger
Was bigger.
than
Yeah.
that cup. And I think this is again where we're still seeing those little differences. Like the lasses are playing AC Milan. It's at
Mhm.
James's Park. We've got it on pens, and
Yeah.
then bloody There you go. Like,
Yeah.
why are we still seeing those like differences? Like, with there's so much work that's being done, and I'm really proud of Newcastle and everything that the women's team have achieved, but
Mm.
it's still those micro differences that we need to work on, right?
Yeah. No, no, and I do fully get that. And yeah, like it, it's change of perception, Sam, and you're right in what you're saying. It's micro or whatever, but it's been like this for a long time in women's football. And I've seen the progression tenfold in the last 4 years, especially from the women winning the European Championship, has changed everything. So for me, I get it. The cup was small, and you would want it the similar size as the men's and all that kind of stuff. Um, but ultimately, like, we're not far away. We're not far away. We're nearly there. It'll come. Like I say, it'll come. Honestly, it's hard. It's hard to swallow, and I've had many years of that. In all different shapes and forms, from discrimination at the side of the pitch, to comments, to even to the point of, joining in a conversation with a group of men about football, because they used to look at us with two heads. Like, and that was the challenges that we daily come across even now. Like, they have to earn respect. I do a lot of coaching, and it's sad to say, but even if I, like, when I'm coaching, say, young boys teams, I have to earn respect for them, to sit up and listen. As mad as that sounds, and I'll explain a little bit more, that, like, they see a girl straight away and they think, well, can't she play football? Or, what I mean, she's coaching us. And I can see their attention spans going elsewhere. And I have to then rein them in, and whether that's doing some sort of football tricks, and showing them the ability, and then they'll sit up
Proving
and
your
listen.
worth.
That's exactly it. I have to then
Yes.
show them that, I do know what I'm talking about, and I can play football, and then they go, whoa, then they listen, whereby you don't tend to have that, from a male point of view. So there's still a lot of challenges and a lot of barriers still to be broken down, but the progression has been massive. It's a massive change, and like I say, and that's been purely down to getting an audience on TV. Women's football, the WSL, which they called at the time, I think was the Super League. They put it on in the summer to try and get people to start and watch it, and it was on TV. And I don't think that worked. So the FA pulled it and put it back to a normal, season from obviously this sort of time until May. Um, and it's only, like I say, it's only took, well, the European Championship to change perception, and we still need to do more. There's still more to be done, and I would love to see people challenge people as well. It's important that they when you hear comments, you hear things like, "Oh, women get back in the kitchen," all that kind of stuff. Don't get me wrong, I've got plenty of humour, and I have a laugh at work and things like that, but sometimes they need challenging because they are quite nasty. And that's what we as a whole, um, as human beings, we can do more. And I would love to see that. I'd love to see that from people, a bit more challenging others when there's comments being made, because it can make your life a lot harder when you're only trying to help progression of somebody else's ability. Like myself, I'll try and coach because I'm coaching them to get them better players, to show them better techniques, to improve them as a player. And that's hard enough. And then I don't need other challenges on top. Do you know what I mean? So if comments are made, step in
Yeah,
and
for
just go,
sure.
hold on, don't make those comments.
And do you know what? For me, that's probably why I joined the Toon Review. I'd been watching for 2 years and I hadn't peeped up and said a word because of that thing in the back of my head. Well, what do I say? And it was because of the women in the chat, and I'm like, he's just having their opinion, and everybody was so welcoming, and it was such a community, and that's what I love about this channel. And we've got so many women now who are just in having equally as valid things to say, equally as intelligent when it comes to football. you know, and why not? And I've put this comment up from our friend Wacky here. Like, Sam, if you could ask if Amanda leaving will affect how much support the ladies will get from the club. She was pretty much at every game. No true a statement was made. And it is an interesting one because we talk about that support and how things are affected. We'll just do a quick shout out to Yvonne, one of our regular viewers as well. £5 super sticker there. So thank you so much, Yvonne. But things are changing though, Aaron, and we're seeing the positivities coming about. We're seeing the strengthening of the squad as well. What's been really exciting for me, and you might have a little bit of insider knowledge on this actually, discussing the new Adidas kit launch. So
Yes.
amazing to see the women featuring in the campaign, in the ads. If you're local, you've been down to St James's recently, the billboards outside are absolutely class. We've had them for the home, the third, the away now as well, and the lasses are absolutely plastered all over the place. It's amazing to see. But I'm scratching my head, Aaron. I think did I recognise you in one of the adverts, Aaron, for Adidas? Please,
I don't know what you're talking
it
about.
wasn't me. Oh,
Yeah, not me.
Howie, how'd
Honestly,
you pull
I
that
spent
one?
all day on that train, going back and forwards for them.
Shut up, man. Howie, just
Honestly,
tell us the crack. What was
honestly.
happening?
At that kit, the maroon and blue one, like, was my all-time favorite kit, and loved every, like, thinking, would it ever come back? And when I seen it, oh, you should have seen my face. I could have cried. I was like, it's back, it's back. No, I just, I shouted out that I was interested in doing it, and I was picked to do it, and it was a fantastic day. Went to a train station, up Northumberland, and we filmed all day. And yeah, I was on the platform, when the train pulls away, and then I'm on one of the trains. But it was a great experience, honestly. A couple of the players were there, like Joe Linton turned up. He did, like, one of the main shots. Murphy, he was really nice. He came straight over, shook my hand, and shook another couple of lads. There was three lads and me on the platform because they were going to use us in that shot, and then decided not to. But again, like, amazing. He came straight over. I was like, he's all right, chatting away. Then at the end on the train, I wasn't in that shot, but I was on the train, and when we seen Eddie Howe and Jason Tyndall come around the corner, everyone on the train was like, and they had
They're
obviously the
like
white
jaw
top
to the
on.
floor
Yeah, I was
moment.
just like,
Yes.
oh, there's the main man, and he got on it again straight away, shook everybody's hand. Was absolutely amazing. Like, great experience, and spoke on the way out. I was happening to leave at the same time as both of them, and I was speaking to Jason Tyndall. Like, he was lovely. They were all just dead friendly, and, like, they're nice guys. Like, there wasn't any airs and graces about them. They just came, did what they needed to do, and but yeah, when I seen that shirt, I looked at it and was like, wow. We had to wear our shirts, the old ones, to go with. So we were requested prior to go with maroon and blue tops, the old retro. And I had my Adidas Sambas on from back in the day, the blue
Oh,
ones with a three stripe,
Dave.
80s, 90s style. So yeah, it was class. It was a long day, mine, because, like I say, it was from first thing to late thing at night. But the experience was amazing, and it was great to just be part of it, the whole thing. I mean, who doesn't want to be in a Newcastle advert? So I was like,
Oh,
yeah,
you're like cemented in history and of such an important campaign as well. Like, this was the return to Adidas. We've had the
hmm
homages to some absolutely classic kits, and that away, the maroon and the navy. And you know what I particularly love about the campaign? Like, just the memes that have been used and referenced throughout the
that is it.
adverts. Just, it's
Greg,
garnished
it
and
was like, oh, when I see, like, because we obviously at the time, when you say
yes.
we're part of the storyline, but you don't see any of that. So when the advert came out and I seen it, and I was like, oh my God, that was amazing. Because obviously Jason Tyndall, I was on the train when he was doing all this. But then when it like referenced into Greg's, I was like, oh my god, that's just amazing. Like all the little stuff, even from the past, Rob Lee, Ginola at the end on the train, like all the players from the 90s where I was I was about 14, 15 then, and I watched them players from the stands, and they were like, when we're in the Champions League and things like that, and it's that feel. They were very clever how they did it, but ultimately it was that feel good factor for everyone. Like, oh my god, like Adidas is back, where Newcastle United's back with a bang, and that's the feeling it gave you. Not just like, oh, we've got Adidas, our new shirt sponsor. Like the build up, the nostalgia from the 90s, it's got a massive emotional connection for all of us black and whites that watched in the stand and watched the team go from up there to down there and never really came back up, to then starting to come up, being bought by, a multi-billionaire Saudis, and then, the next thing, it's like, boom, Adidas is back. It's like, here we go, the stage is set. And then the display, I don't know if any of you went down, any of the listeners, or Sam, I'm not sure if you were there, but I went down for the light show on the quayside.
Oh, the Sela light show it was on the Baltic, wasn't it?
Yes, it was
Yeah.
absolutely stunning. Like again, it was a choke throat moment. Like when everything went off and the whole reference to Bobby Robson, and I was just like, oh my god! Like there was one after the other with the light shows again, and again that was another massive statement. Like Adidas is here and they're here to stay, and we're bringing the good times with. They were there in the good times. Then we've had all the bad times, and they weren't there. Now Adidas is back. It's linked to Newcastle winning,
Success.
and yeah, it's like Adidas is success to us. So it's kind of the whole package now we've seen, and yeah, amazing, but very
It was just
emotional.
it was emotional. It was done in a really classy way. The lasses being interwoven into the scenes, like as I said, they're on the billboards. They're absolutely everywhere.
Hmm.
Before they closed down the club shop and put the temporary one, we were starting to see them like in the club shop. I know, Aaron, you had a really emotional story the first time when you actually saw one of the Newcastle lasses up
Hmm.
on the wall in the club shop.
Yeah.
Like that had never been known for you. So it's such a
Mm-mm.
sea change in terms of what we're seeing. I mean, like
It is.
I've got like Kelly on the back of me top.
Hmm.
I did have to second guess this one though, because I was just like, are people going to think it's Lloyd Kelly? And I've made a really big mistake with the numbers. I am dyslexic, and I am very open and transparent about this. But I was just like, no, I'm having my favorite Lasses player on
Hmm.
this top, because I just think it's just a symbol of support, and seeing them on the
It is.
train, seeing you making your cameo, which by the way I didn't even know was happening. So like peeking you in there was a
Yeah,
double
sorry
take,
about that.
just
Had to be.
class.
It was one of them. It was all kind of secret. Hush hush. But yeah, I knew when it was going to go out. All of a sudden, the social media would start and go a bit wild. But yeah, it was honestly, Sam. Like, of all the things in my career, even with England, all of that, like just being in part of the whole Newcastle advert was massive for me, because I've got a, it's where my heart is. But it's massively changed. Like I say, I was lucky if I was in the Chronicle with a little square in the corner, like saying Aaron's been called up for England. Now we've got where club players in the championship going on, billboards going on. You go around the stadium, they're on adverts, they're on everywhere you look. And this is the change, and it's fantastic to see, and I want to see it get bigger and bigger. And the next steps will be St James's Park to be playing on and things like that.
All right, so speaking of this is the change, tell us in your experience, because we've been riding a high. The
Yeah,
ladies
we
have been
have.
riding
We
a
have.
high, undeniably, and I think we all just need to maybe just brace ourselves a little bit, have some
Hmm.
faith, and support the lasses. Of course, we've massively strengthened, but as you've said before, Aaron, this is a difference. This is a huge step up.
Hmm.
We've got two Derby teams to expect. We've got Durham and we've got Sunderland. I'm going to go out of my
October.
mind with
October is
excitement.
the month. October
Right,
is
I'm
a
turning
big,
it off.
huge. Oh, yeah.
Turn it
That's
off, because that just needs to be enjoyed at its fullest. But this is going to be different. This is going to be really different, as you've already mentioned. It's going to be challenging for us. We've obviously strengthened where we've needed to. You know, we've said goodbye to some fantastic servants of the team as well. But it is going to be very difficult for us. You know, everybody wants us to go for the treble promotion. Let's do it. But Aran, can we do it? I even stuttered when I said that. Can we do it? I don't know. Can we?
The thing is, it's important to be level-headed and keep our feet on the ground as well. And you know, it would, like I say, it's being honest. Do I think they're going to go straight in the league and get promoted? I would love to be sat here and use all I've seen at the end of the season. Aaron, you were talking rubbish, right? But this is a project. We've got players in to get stronger and stronger. The level, the speed, the fitness is all different. I mean, fitness wise, they will be able to go toe to toe, right? They're as fit as they come, the lasses are. But again, it's going to come down to technical ability. It's going to come down to the coaches and the background, how much you know homework they've done on the other teams. And I want to see them in the top three. Okay. Do I think they'll win it this season? No. And for the reasons I've just mentioned. Do I think they'll be winning within the next 3 years? 100%. Yes, I do. And that's when you'll see more players coming again, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. But they need a season. Don't be too harsh, and this is to all the listeners. Don't be too harsh on the team if that isn't the case and they don't get promoted, because it's you've seen back to back promotions is it's hard enough to do. You know, it was never in the books to do that. They've done
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Like now they're in the next league. Don't the expectations can't be, oh well, we need to go in and we need to just win this. Like it doesn't work like that. So give them time to bed in. They may need a season. The management may need a season. Obviously, it's different when your team's actually playing in it, actually going and viewing it, or on your own as a scout or whatever. But yeah, give them time to get up to speed. Those players, the likes of Charlotte Potts has played at this level before, so she's no
love her.
idiot to it, and she's got the pride there. She's got the heart there, so she'll be fighting tooth and nail. They all will. But yeah, give it a little bit of time. They need bedding in time, so don't be unrealistic with expectations.
No, I'm going to be unrealistic. We're having the trouble. I'm
I
going to.
want I want them to win everything. I want them to
Don't
walk
tell me how to
everything.
feel, Aran.
Sorry, Sam. I'm a realist.
I
Sorry.
know, I know. I need to hear it. Please keep me grounded.
Keep you
Um,
grounded. Keep you grounded.
yeah, thank you for that. But I think that probably comes on to like something that I want to close the show with, because I think it's going to be really interesting how Becky adapts to this, because going from strength to strength,
Mhm.
the backing that she's had, the visible support from the ownership has been undeniable. The increase in fans, if you went to any of the games last season, you can just keep on going, and like there was more and more people there all the time, which was brilliant. So how will Becky Langley be preparing for this jump up? Because it is very different. We were so lucky to be a full-time team last year, and I think that gave us a fitness advantage that we probably saw in specifically the second half of games, Aran,
Mhm.
where the fitness it just
Just
totted us
proved
over the edge
superior.
for
Yeah.
the win. How is that going to be different this season for Becky?
Yeah. I mean, any manager, especially Becky, and the sort of coaching force they've got behind them, that you just see the people that are on a lot of the photographs, people just look at and say face value. There's a lot of people behind the scenes that do a lot of analysis. And that analysis is, and there's scouts and things like that. They trust me, they'll be doing their homework and they'll know exactly the formation that they were playing. They'll study games from last season from their opponents, even down to the players. You'll have a look and you'll see what their strengths are. If you're a left winger, for example, the first 5 minutes of your game as a player, what you do is you'll try and go down either side of them, see which is their weakest foot, so for the rest of the game which way is they're going to struggle on, and that's down to player level. But as for management level, there's a lot goes on behind the scenes, and there's hours and hours of footage they will watch. There's a lot of notes to be made. Um, and Becky will be doing that in the background, with obviously the new interim assistant manager come in. Again, she's already been in this league. She knows her stuff. She's been a head coach already. She's done Becky's job in this league. So you've got someone with a lot of experience with knowing these teams already. So that's got to give you a massive advantage. Considering, don't get me wrong, Andy Cook knew his stuff. He was an excellent coach. Loved Andy to pieces. Um, but again, he didn't have that insight. You've already got a bit like an inside man, haven't you? When you think about it, it's an inside coach that
Yeah,
can,
absolutely.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Well,
I think they've got an
Claire
advantage.
Ditchburn as well. What was she from? Durham.
Durham, yeah,
So
yeah. So Claire,
that's
Claire
hopefully
was
going
the
to
head
help that
coach.
Derby day.
Yeah, she'll know her stuff, inside out, and she'll be feeding Becky with everything that you need to know for pre-season. Um, she'll have a lot of connections, and again, you pick up information in that sense of who's on form, who's not on form, who's been struggling, and you work again. You work with that. You choose what formation you go in, or the attacking team, or the defending team. Last season, they had none of that to do really. You put your 11 players out and you bring your subs on, and the chances are you're gonna beat the teams. You're gonna annihilate them with the level of ability you had. Now we're in this league. I mentioned earlier it's going to be a lot closer. A lot of preparation is going to be a lot more intense because you need to, because it's going to be small margins of who's winning and who's losing games. So yeah, there's a lot, even down to the fact of like um analysis, you know, gear that you have. So they'll put heart monitors on you, and people don't realize that some of the players are running around with heart monitors, which then are read by, put into a laptop, and it gives them a reading of how fast the heart rate's be going, how far they've been traveling with the ball, how far they've been running. Um, there's all of that comes into play, and they analyze upon analyze. So all this comes into one.
I love that. And
So
do
there
you
you
know
go.
what? Like when you think about the sort of technology side, like behind everything, that's sort of like it's a bit like the British cycling team. Like I'm a big fan of that mentality of like marginal gains. What else is it going to take? And again, it's training facilities. It's what you're talking about, the technical investment and all those great things like that. So it's absolutely fabulous. Jamie, another super chat. What amazing. Thank you so much. And thank you for your feedback. We'll take that on
Oh,
board and hope to deliver more fabulous content to you as well. Aran, I know that we don't have long left of the show, but let's have a figure out of what's going on with you, what's happening with your business. We've got your sort of website link in the description, but what have you been up to?
wowza. So, I've been doing loads and loads of coaching because, you know, for a long time I've been out of the kind of coaching sector because, as you know, women's football wasn't very big, and at the end of the day, everyone has to make a living. So I've got to go into a mainstream job, But now it is, and I want to kind of give back, and pass on some of my knowledge to others that I feel that can take it away and improve their performance. So I'm a qualified UEFA C coach and have been for a very long time. Um, and I'm now doing a lot of one-to-ones with children, adults, one-to-one sessions, drop-in sessions. I've been doing loads, all over the northeast, even down as far as nearly York. Soccer schools. The demand's been absolutely massive, which is amazing to say that they've wanted us there. Going into soccer schools. I went to one last week, and it was down in Darlington. I think it's Darlington Locomotives. It was an all girls, and oh my God, Sam, man, I walked in, and there was 100 children, right, from the ages of 4, uh,
Oh.
so cute, 4-year-old, right, to about 16, right. I did 6 sessions, and then how McDonald's do all they do a lot for sport and football and stuff like that.
Yeah,
They
yeah, absolutely.
they had McDonald's had provided all the food. So there was a Christmas tree, a table, a Christmas tree shaped full of chicken nuggets. Um,
Yes, I'm there.
honestly, hundreds of chicken nuggets. I walked in and went, wow. all burgers, chips, all of them for the kids. That was amazing
Plenty of
to
salad
see.
bags as well there, Aaron, yeah?
Oh, why, yeah.
Healthy
One
eating.
of them
Kids
healthy
went
eating.
straight for them.
Yeah, of course. So yeah, kids were all jumping up and down. That was absolutely amazing. Passed on some experience they were doing like different each day, each week they would over 4 weeks I think they do it every year, and they were doing different themes. So it was a pro week. So they had me, Jess Clark had been on the Monday. I went on the Thursday, and there was Simon, a Sunderland player, a male player. He was there as well. We're all taking coaching sessions with all their coaches. There was about 15 coaches. It was a big setup, but yeah. So soccer academies, one-to-ones, and passing on my knowledge really. Like, I just want to give something back, and if I can contribute to, helping and progressing others, then that's what I'm here for.
Well, Aaron, you're making everybody hungry now, so I'm gonna call
Aaron's hungry.
time on tonight's show. I do want to say a massive, massive thank you to everybody who has been sending in super chats, super stickers, getting involved in the chat, and giving us shout outs and all the lovely comments. There's over 600 watching live right now, which is absolutely unbelievable for a Lasses show midweek. So can't thank you enough.
Sam,
Please.
can I
What,
mention
man?
something? Can I mention
No.
something before we finish? Oh,
Go on
come
then.
on.
Go on
Hey,
then.
nice. So, just to mention is as well, I don't know if you've seen it at the Theatre Royal. Have you seen the play Jerry and Sewell?
Oh, I've seen this advertised.
Yeah, 2nd till the 5th of October, right, at the Theatre Royal, and it's based on like the Purely Belter. And
Yes.
it's about the lads not having a season ticket and how far they'll go to get a season ticket. So, get yourself down, get yourself a ticket for the Theatre Royal if it's something you want to see. But if you're a Geordie like me and Sam are, it's one of them that you'll want to see. So yeah, I just want to mention that because I've seen it and thought, wow, like, it's another football, and it's all about being a Geordie and Geordie fan.
Yeah, bit like Warbella. We did the show
Yeah,
on that. Go back in the TTR archives, library, whatever you want to call it, repository. Like I'm just bringing out the dictionary now, aren't I? Like, but if we do go that, I'm probably going to go and see that. I love doing stuff like that. So if you do see either me or Aaron there, then please come over and say hello. I've obviously got my season ticket as well. So if you see us at the match, do give us a shout out. Want to let you know, obviously, that you can watch the Lasses on the FA Player, or better still, super reasonably priced tickets for your season tickets. So get yourself down to Kingston's Park. But thank you all so much for the love and support that you've shown us tonight. Aaron, thank you so much for joining us.
you're
Check
welcome.
out Aaron's website in the description as well. Like, subscribe, notification bell, all that lovely stuff.
And
And thank you very much for tuning in.
Thank you.
Come back and check out some green.